Welcome back, I'm Sean, and today we're taking a look at a neckband fan that have previously launched a game-changing product. And today we're taking a look at its light version to see if it's any good. So let's check it out. So this fan today was sent over to me by Ranvoo for review, and this is not a sponsored post, and my review will be based on my honest and unbiased opinion. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any future tech reviews. So the Ranvoo AICE LITE here that we have is a personal air conditioner or fan and heater, currently available for sale for about $199 US, and this device really works as advertised. So stay tuned to see what are some of the features or use cases you get with this device, and if you're interested in buying one, definitely get them in the links below. The first thing I want to say is that this is unlike any cheap neck fan band that I've used previously before, and many of them are not very functional honestly, and doesn't really solve the problem of cooling you. And I think because I live in Malaysia, this is kind of the best country to test something like that to see whether it works. So you see, the problem with our country is not just the heat. You get about 32 to 37 degrees weather most days, but the biggest problem with our weather is the humidity, which often hovers around 80 to 100% humidity. So the Ranvoo is better than a traditional neckband fan because it comes with a superconducting low temperature oxidation aluminium plate, definitely a mouthful that kind of instantly cools up when powered on and provides you with that instant coolness. So these metal pieces inside here actually touch your neck to cool you down. So do take note that the coolness is usually around this area and it doesn't really radiate all the way to the back, also to the front here. So it's more centralized towards this portion here. So the color that I have here today is the white model, which I think is the color that you really need to get, and it comes also in blue, and the whole design here is made of a pretty solid plastic piece, which really gives it a pretty good weight as well, coming in at 523 grams. But because of the design that Ranvoo carefully considers, the large back piece here, which is very ergonomically designed, it distributes weight very nicely, that it doesn't feel heavy when wearing it for a long time. On the left side here, you also get a simple screen, which is similar to the Ranvoo AICE 3 launched last year, but in this case it's a simpler indicator and also not a touch screen and doesn't track your activities or movement. And on top of that is also a power button that lights up, so it's easy for you to use your peripheral vision to see what mode that you're in. So blue is cooling, white is AI intelligence cooling, red is heater mode, and green is just fan mode. And on top of that, you get buttons to toggle your fan speed when you're using the device. So right at the top of the device here, you're going to see a lot of ducts at the top of the band here, which is directly pointing to the sides of your face. So if I wear this here, you can see that the ducts are actually pointing straight up to my face and onto my ears, onto my face. And at the bottom here, you also get two smaller holes at the bottom that gently blows down some air through your neck. It's not the strongest, these two ducts here, but it does blow out some form of air to actually cool down your back. Right underneath the screen, there's also a Type-C port at the side here to charge up the device. So around the outside of the band here, as well on both sides, you can see there are some vents here for the device to actually dissipate heat. And inside here, Ranvoo actually calls this a graphene heat dissipator, or Ranvoo also calls it their patented exterior heat sink design, which I do have some thoughts about it in the usability section of this review later on. But when you're using the device, you definitely feel a lot of heat flying out from these vents here on both sides. And if you look at the hinge design at the back here, which also has a rubber piece inside here which acts as an anti-hair pinch design, which is very well thought out because I never have that issue with this thing pinching my hairs or pulling my hair when I'm using this device. So this is very well thought out. So Ranvoo also gave the AICE LITE a 6000 mAh battery, and it does seem to last pretty decently. However, this is, I believe, with the device set at minimum fan speed with fan mode turned on only, which would give you roughly around 12 hours of use. But when you start using any form of cooling or heating mode, you will start to notice the battery drop noticeably faster. But for the times that I've been out for a short while, usually it hadn't died on me so far, which is nice. However, blasting it in cold mode and fan speed at max, because you know, Malaysian weather, I managed to squeeze out just about 5 hours of use before it died. So Ranvoo also gave this device quick charging, so you can go from 0 to 80% in about 80 minutes, and it also supports 15 watts fast charging via USB Type-C. So with the I series of devices, you get to connect it to the Metaura app for you to make adjustments onto your neck fan. And there are some features you can adjust here that you cannot do with just the buttons on the device, which I think is why apps are required by these types of products, which is really nicely designed. Since there's really no point designing an app if your buttons here can already control everything else. So at the homepage here, you get to see the beautiful AICE LITE neckband over here and a battery level at the top, which I would really prefer this to be a battery percentage, because now I have to guess what 2 bar actually means. And hopefully this can be updated by Ranvoo in the future via an app update. And below that, you also get to adjust the temperature of the aluminum pads around your neck, and having it set between 30 Celsius and 16 Celsius, you do feel instantly a big difference when you adjust them. So below here, you have a swipe bar for you to adjust the fan speed more granularly, because you only get 3 fan speed to control on the neckband itself. So if you press it on the buttons here, 1, 2, 3, you only get up to 3 different levels of fan speed. So if you use the app, you can also swipe it to its minimum mode, so it gives you a very gentle breeze, or max it out so that you get like a jet engine level of wind speed. So below there is also 8 different modes that you can choose from. And another thing that I want to point out here is that the device will start at a temperature of 25 Celsius, for example, and you need to keep tapping the temperature down to get to the lowest temperature of 16 degrees. And in heating mode, the highest temperature goes up to 50 degrees, which is nice and toasty. And it's also a feature that I really love to use as a hot pack on my neck after workouts or exercises. And apart from that, you can also update the firmware of both the neckband as well as the Metaura app inside the app itself. So let's talk about the most important part about this device, which is the usability. And if you're using it in hot weather, I believe this works great, because you get the wind blowing and the aluminum pads cooling you down. However, the caveat here is that you only use it in hot and dry weather. If you are like me and you live in Malaysia or any other countries near the equator, you know the biggest problem we have is humidity, and you can blow the biggest fan to your face and you're still gonna sweat and feel very sticky. Plus, if you blow any amount of fan to your face in 100% humidity, you know you're just gonna turbocharge the heat to your face. So using this in the hot sun, I'm going to be honest, with our weather, I'm still sweating when I'm out and about. Yes, it creates a cooling breeze and it has the aluminum pads that, you know, kind of cool down my neck area, but it's only targeted to my neck and my face, but the top of my head is still hot and my body is still hot. So when is the best time for you to use a device like that? And I think it's best to use when you're indoors, when you're shaded from the heat or humidity, and wants to at least, you know, have some form of control to your ambient temperature. So I particularly like to use this in situations like in an office environment, or when I'm walking around in the mall when the aircon is there but it's not strong enough because of the crowd, where you don't have full control on the central AC and it's not cold enough, or if it's too cold and you want to warm up. So with this is the perfect device to use in those kind of places. So a couple more usability things that I want to point out is also the noise, and Ranvoo says that the device works quietly like 20 decibels. Well, that's true if you use it in its minimum fan speed mode that you adjust inside the app. If you don't want to use the app and solely use the buttons to control the device, the minimum fan speed is actually about 50% inside the app, and volume here is quite loud. Using it in fan speed 1, I am clocking in at about 70 decibels, average around there, and fan speed 2 goes upwards of 85 decibels, and fan speed 3 will go to a whopping 92 decibels, which is pretty loud from a technical decibel standpoint, but when I use it in a loud area, crowded area, or open area, it actually doesn't feel that bad. So I just want to really just put that out there so that you know that this thing actually gets loud, but if you're using it in an open environment or places with people or talking, or you know, in a mall situation, it's actually pretty okay. So another issue I found with this device is that you need to use the neckband pretty still with your neck straight, which honestly is how you should sit technically. But if you do tilt your neck a little bit like that, it blocks the fan duct and will block the airflow. And I think that would be good if the air ducts can be placed slightly outwards and not so close to the neck, because now any type of movement, you see, if I just lean my head just a little bit, it blocks the duct. Another thing to note when you're using this while sitting on your chair is that you will not be able to use your headrest when you're wearing it, because the back of the device is pretty bulky and you'll be resting on the device itself rather than on your chair's headrest. So it's common to all neck fans since you have something around your neck and it's jutting out, but it's just something I thought worth pointing out. Finally, this is also related to the heatsink, because the neckband is small. Unlike the ICE 3, the body of it is also a little shorter here, hence the bottom of the left band is quite close to your neck. So it does get a little warm around this area here, outside and at the bottom where the Type-C port is. So when you're using it in the cooling feature and suddenly you turn your neck to do this, the heatsink will kind of like touch your neck and you will get this cold and hot sensation at the same time, which is honestly very weird. So what do you think about this AI neck air conditioner? Will you be using it in high humidity countries like Malaysia? And how does it normally feel to use a fan in hot places but low humidity? So I'm really curious to find out. For me, I think that cooling pad does add a layer of coolness to my daily walk around, but I'm still going to be sweating because of our weather, and I'm honestly okay with that, or maybe I'm just used to it. So having this around my neck, walking around, just with that pads alone that cools down, really is fantastic. That is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button and share this video everywhere. If you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.